I love how it just intertwines into your life. As a pastor, as you doing the work that you do with an NPO, the Recovery Center, it just blends into.
I've heard stories saying, when a mother is not there, things are somehow, in my experience, it was a different thing. I mean, my father had to take care of all of us after the death of my mother. I think this is 1999. And yeah, from there, he really took it on. So as our house and Second Chance, we only facilitate, or rather intake 20 young men from the ages of 18 upwards. So we can only take that, but it's only, we are funded for 20 people that we can in-house. Showing up every time to the program says a lot about the character of a person who wants to really change their life. So we are there to say, look, we will ask them.
So the platform for boys to speak
is very limited.
It's
very limited. And that is why you find even in churches, we don't have a lot of men. It's more women who are in church than men.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast. Welcome to yet another exciting, interesting, and of course, informative podcast on the Dlalisa Moyeni podcast, or rather episode on the Dlalisa Moyeni podcast. It is, of course, always a pleasure to be here. We're just about to wrap up July, but not yet. One more week to go. Guys, I can tell you this. August is going to be exciting. August, get ready for you, and please look out for Dlalisa Moyeni on all social media platforms. We are there: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, you name it. So please look out for that as well. Thank you so much for the comments, subscriptions, suggestions, and just talking to us, guys, in regards to the podcast itself, and also hearing of the suggestions that you would love for us to feature in. And we're really going to try our level best to do so. But it's always about informing you guys back at home, and just making a platform that is right for all of us. So this week, talking about Bana Barona, as you know, we have been on a series looking at drug abuse holistically. We've brought in people by Longhore. They've used drugs. If you haven't seen that episode, please do go back on our channel and watch it and see how informative and helpful it is. But we've had people who spoke about them using drugs and how it wasn't beneficial for them. And today we're taking it up a notch, guys. We have brought in Second Chance as a rehabilitation center, whom are, or a halfway house, going to tell us more on what they are doing in the community and how they are helping Setjhaba sa Mamelodi and across Gauteng with kids who are, struggling with drug abuse. And to help me unpack that, to talk to that further on, I am joined by Solomon Lerodi, who is also a pastor. He's a husband as well and a father. So yeah, man, holistic. We're going to be going into all of that. Muruti, thank you so much for joining us today. The entire morning I've been saying Muruti. Thank goodness I remembered your name. How are you?
I am well, and how are you, ma'am?
I'm well, thank you.
How was it? We are enjoying the weather.
Right?
Yes, we're enjoying the weather. I'm okay.
Talking about the weather, I think the days are starting to become warmer. Is it me, or maybe Rejahile Sama, Rejahile Spring?
I think Rejahile Sama. But yeah, it's a good weather. The cold is good. We're enjoying it. Yeah, but it's getting warmer during the day. Later on, it's something else.
True that.
Yeah, no,
true that. But it's seasons.
It's getting too cold. Yeah.
It's seasons. Right, let's get into it. Before we talk a lot more on Second Chance, I know something very interesting about you.
Yes.
Which I absolutely love, and I love how it just intertwines into your life. As a pastor, as you doing the work that you do with an NPO, the Recovery Center, it just blends in together. So you were raised by your father.
Yes,
with siblings.
Used to be 6, now we are 5.
Okay.
I'm somewhere in between.
But you were raised by a single...
We were raised by a single man.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So, quite interesting. I've heard stories saying, when a mother is not there, things are somehow, in my experience, it was a different thing. I mean, my father had to take care of all of us after the death of my mother. I think this is 1999. And yeah, from there he really took it on.
He stood up to it.
Yeah, no, he became everything. He was supposed to be a father, a mother to all these, children who are still trying to really understand the concept of death. To say,
Oh my God.
really, Vele Mama, we are not going to see Mama again, and he had to step in, he had to be there. Growing up, when my mother was around, my father was the strictest one in the family. Now, when the other part is no longer there, then he has to now, relax a bit. Now he has to talk to us. And remember, he's raising also girls there.
I was about to ask, yeah.
And when the time comes for every girl, I call them a covenant month, where,
You're such a pastor.
So when that time comes, it's something else. And, they have to send you there. So me and my sisters, we had to grow up very fast because now the situation had to force us to grow. But I won't lie, my father had to pick up a role. And he played it very well. I still thank God for his life till today.
Wow,
if he did not take that, for sure, I'm a dead man sitting here. But as a good father as he is, we grew up well. We turned out okay. I take nothing from how we grew up. I think God gave him wisdom to raise a boy child and a girl child at the same time. And some of us are here. We are people we are today.
And hey, look how you turned out. You turned out very well.
Grace had to play part.
Would you say that there are parts of you that you've perhaps taken from him?
The talking part, yes.
Okay.
I took from him. The leadership part I took from him. He used to be a choir conductor, choral choir conductor,
wow, nice.
where you have all the voices, bass, tenor, soprano, alto. Well, you hardly see all of that today, but so he would gather all the young people the time, because we grew up in a squatter camp in Mamelodi. So in phase one, he would gather all the young people around and he would teach them music. Then, that part of, gathering people around, I think I took it from him.
Sure.
And also some of the spiritual gifts that we have now, I would credit that to some of what he has, become. So he imparted some of those things to us. So there is quite a lot that I took from him. The issue of just being resilient against all odds, it was there. I mean, raising
6 kids
alone, it's something else. It's not a child's play.
And interesting how he didn't even run to finding a partner.
No.
Kapila.
No, he didn't. If there's an area that, I think I would give him credit to, is that area. He never brought any woman to us. He never told us anything in regards to that, up until a certain time where I think maybe he saw, now they are understanding. Yes, even if maybe he had, we were not aware, but he played that space very safe to us to say, you know what, I want to bring my children under this, leadership. And when we were a bit older, that's when he said, I think it's now time for me to get a wife. And we were all okay.
Of course.
Because we believed he also needs, that space.
But
we never saw all those things. If they were happening, maybe we did not see them because of how maybe he was raising us.
And he was intentional about it.
For sure. No, that 100%. And I think that I would credit to him to say, in terms of integrity in that space, he showed us quite a lot.
Wow.
And we grew up the way we grew because I believe God gave him the wisdom to, grow these children. Having to think of how I was, outside of his eyes and how I was in front of his eyes, it was something else. But, his leadership, it's what made us to be what we are as children. My elder sister is a pastor. I'm also part of that space of colleagues, and we are okay. We are okay. We truly, credit God for him for what he has done.
I love that. And but I honor him for that, having the resilience in having to raise 6 kids alone, having to stand against all odds. I can imagine even when family members were to say, hey, and he stood the test of time. But I want to go back to something here that you spoke about, of how he would bring back children in the community. And you are doing that now. And this is where I believe also Second Chance Recovery Center steps in. Tell us a little bit more on Second Chance Recovery that we know now gore e ko Mamelodi, based in Mamelodi. Perhaps not only, but I believe we'll get to that as well.
Yes. So interestingly, Second Chance is one of those organizations that have a very unique program. In a sense, we are not a rehab, we are a halfway house. So meaning when people want to, because with a halfway house, you then have other activities that happen or other programs.
Okay.
So as a halfway house and Second Chance, we only facilitate or rather intake 20 young men from the ages of 18 upwards. So we can only take that, but it's only, we are funded for 20 people that we can in-house. Only males. Please, someone must not say, why not girls? We'll get there. But the subject matter is that we in-house only males. But on other programs, on aftercare and also on outpatient, that is when we'll have to have all of them. So as a halfway house, we do referrals. So if someone comes and they want to go to rehab, we'll refer them to a rehabilitation center. But after they are done with their 6 weeks program or 2 weeks program in any rehabilitation program, they come back, they apply to the center. Then they will be placed on a waiting list. When the space comes in, we'll then intake them and in-house them for 3 months. So within a space of 3 months, we make sure that we refer them to skills facilities. Also, there are programs that they have to do within the center where they will meet the social workers, where they will also have in-house sessions where it's just only them, and other programs that, recovering drug addicts engage in. One of the programs is NA program. But this program of a halfway house or of aftercare that we provide, the unique part is that most of the people that we refer to rehab, you find after 6 weeks, they come back. Upon coming back, the community was not rehabilitated. Remember, the community, they know a drug addict.
Yeah,
now they come back to us. This particular person went to rehab. Maybe they stole from their neighbors or they took a battery somewhere of another man's taxi owner. You get those issues now. It's a serious issue because that man, he's not rehabilitated. He is. Now, as Second Chance, what we do is, part of what our social workers will do is that they will have a program called reintegration with families and the community. So we'll reintegrate this particular person with the community. So they will take the service user, we call them service users. Then we'll get to the person that probably they stole a battery from, try to, make a reconciliation program for that. Also, you have people that, they stole from their neighbors, and this guy is coming back. The community is not rehabilitated. The family is not rehabilitated. So Second Chance, they will then have a program where we will say, we'll have what we call a parental workshop, where everyone from the community is welcome, but also the main focus is the families affected to say, I always liken it to people who work in a fire station to say, most of us are not trained on how to take out fire. And when there is a fire, you then call people who know about fire. We might Google it, but it's not the same as someone who's trained.
Especially when you're experiencing it.
It's different. You then realize crawling, it doesn't work. I want to run here. I will get bent. So, but when someone skilled comes in, they can then assist you, properly. So what we do is we call families, we call the community to partake. Then we bring in social workers, people who are on the ground, who really know, who are trained to deal with this service user. Then they begin to work with the service user, with the parents on how they can, then work with this particular service user and the community, just so that the community can also have that awareness of what substance does to the family, also on the individual himself, the service user, to say, this has affected you this much, but in that affection, this is what we will do as a center or as in the program where we want you to come out as a better person. Because I believe every organization, they have a particular product that they want to produce. I mean, people who are baking bread, all of them bake bread, but people choose the kind of bread they want from whatever bakery. So even with us, as Second Chance, part of what we want to see is that we want the community to know there is an aftercare, there is a second chance. Not every child on the streets should be called a nyaubes or, a crystal.
There is a second chance. That
there
line
is a second chance.
There
so we offer that.
A second chance.
We offer that. So the parents will also get a second chance of now parenting their child because,
so everybody gets a second chance.
Everybody gets a second chance. The community gets a second chance.
Yeah.
Because, it happens and you can't blame people when they call, our service users nyaopes and what, because where there's no teaching, where there's no awareness, people then they make a decision. Life doesn't allow vacuum, so people will then call people street kids. There's no streets that can give birth, but then someone must come and say, we will not label them this way, this is what we will do. So as second chance, we come in to say, look, we will give this particular person a second chance. I mean, the oldest person we have in the center, I think is about 64. We can't at this point. So we can't say he doesn't deserve it because he's an old person. No, we still have to give it to them. They are still alive. For as long as a person is still alive, they deserve, that chance of rectifying certain mistakes they made, and they stand out to become an inspiration to others to say, if that old man did it, I can also do it myself. So as second chance, that's where we come in, and we come to make sure everyone in the community will get that second chance, provided, they are willing to get the chance. So that's what we do in the center.
I absolutely love the way that you guys have come in, and like you said, that you are a halfway house, you're not necessarily that rehabilitation center, but I do understand that you have that working with rehabilitation centers. But let me take it back also to who actually started Second Chance, how that vision also came about.
Interestingly, it started by a young man from Mamelodi called Skumbuzo Jele. He's a Mamelodian who was seeing, in fact, in his mind, he was not necessarily starting a rehab per se. From, how he started, he was seeing young men around the community, troubled by substance. So he saw a place and decided he will take them there. They will be in more like a shelter, but, to try and rehabilitate these, people who are affected or who are abusing substances, to say, if you are here, you are safe. You can come out provided you are now okay with substance. So that's how he wanted it to happen.
Work.
So when social development came in, they came in with a sense to say, we have rehabilitation centers, let's then put in a halfway house. So, within those processes where, the late Skumbuzo was busy with it, a tragedy happened where there was a drive-by shooting the police and, criminals, and he was, shot by a stray bullet right at the gates of the center. It was an unfortunate thing. Well, still something that troubles us. To those who know him personally, I don't think we can say heal now. It takes time. You then realize, hey, some things when they're close to your heart, they are not as easy as someone just, oh, this is what happened. But it's something that really, happens. So every year, on the 21st of March, that's the date we chose as a center to say we are going to celebrate, this life.
Him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So every year around 21st of March, we have what we call an annual hike. So we'll get to the mountains of Mamelodi, we'll hike there, just to say a man had a vision. And some of us today, we are having some, at least we can buy a few drinks, Coke there and there. Just so that, to say the vision worked.
And him giving other people second chances, it's actually happening.
No, for sure. I think his life to us is more inspirational because, a man had a vision, man believed in that vision. Even when he's not there, the vision still outlives him.
Continuing.
So for me, that is an inspirational, kind of a life to say, I also want to live something like that.
Of course.
I will help whoever I help. I might not be as big as him in terms of what he has done, but the little bit that I do will also necessitate that even after I'm not here, there will be a life someone can say, this man lived like this, who will then extend the vision. But we are here where we are, a second chance recovery center because of the late Skumbuzo.
Oh, man.
So he played quite a big role. Anyone who's assistant in second chance is quasi fella a time. In that space. I believe is because of that passion that he had that now all of us are getting this, assistance from, that particular place. So everyone gets second chance because of the
vision that he had.
Yes.
So you guys work closely with rehabilitation centers.
Yes.
And one thing that this platform does is to bring the truth, right?
Yeah.
Is to bring the realities
of
what, like you were saying earlier on, families go through.
Yeah.
The community also goes through.
Yes.
The users themselves go through as well.
Yeah.
Just take us through what happens in rehab. From your knowledge and from how
so upon having to do all those psychosocial reports where they are done with the service user. They send in the documents, the information to a rehabilitation, or rather to a rehab. So when it gets to a rehab, when they have space, they will then have the person come into the program. So there is a 7 days, we call it sick bay. They will be there in sick bay for 7 days. So for that 7 days, that's where they are working on, giving them medication, because they are now active. They are still active on those particular drugs. Okay. So you can't just, have them on a program. So for 7 days, other rehabs might
that's
do
the withdrawal now
the withdrawal stages.
Okay.
So in that space of 7 days, that's where medication is also given to them. So because that's the most difficult stage, because now you are used to having this thing daily, probably within hours, maybe every 3 hours you're having your shot. Now you're in this space, there's no chance for you to get your shot. So in sick bay, they stay for 7 days. Other rehabs might do differently, but the ones who were exposed to it was 7 days. Then after 7 days, that's when they'll put them in a program. And sometimes you find some can stay for 7 days, but whoever can withstand 7 days, I believe they can withstand the rest of the weeks.
Of course.
Because in the next coming weeks, they will be in a program with other service users. Then they will also be having individual sessions with the social workers there. Other rehabs, then they will have them on sports, because we believe they also need to, because when they were still active, certain things they were not doing right, in terms of food, exercising. So we then provide them with sports. Others will play chess, others will then go and play soccer. So depending on the facility, what do they have as sports? So they will have that. Well, some of us would prefer soccer and chess, because with chess, it helps you strategize, it helps you work quite a lot with your mind. With soccer, it just helps your body, to stay active. So you will then have those rehabilitation centers do that. But mostly is to deal with the habits, because a rehabilitation center will deal with the habits. This was a bad habit that the person did. Now we are changing the habit into structuring or restructuring the habit into a positive one, so that the person at the end of the 6 weeks, they now know. Some, after 6 weeks, they don't really need drugs anymore. They are strong-willed, because remember, our program deals with the person who's willing.
I was coming to that also to say, what does the program entail? What are we now talking at? What are we talking about? Are you dealing with my emotions? Are you dealing with my psyche?
Yeah.
What does the program look like?
So they will have a week where, in that week, they will call it an emotional week, where they're dealing with emotions.
Sure.
Because remember, with substance is an issue of emotions. Most of them, not all, I would say most of them, it was when they were at their lowest. So they found alcohol as a friend. Others, they found crystal meth as a friend. Others, they found nyaobe as a friend. So depending on whatever DOC, drug of choice, they were having. So others, you'll find at their lowest, alcohol was the easiest. So they will binge on alcohol to a point where they suppress the emotions. They did not want to deal with the reality. Then they had this drug helping them to deal with reality. But at some point, then they realized, it overtook them, because every drug, what people don't know is that you are in control until then it says, it's my time. Because, well, you are still having your 1-2 over the weekend. Now on Monday, you want more to drive out the Sunday thing. On Tuesday, the Monday did not go out well. Now it's the whole week. Then you realize, hey, I did this thing every day. To a point, now it's taking over. You no longer do things the way you're supposed to do. It's now your God now. So it's telling you, it's 6 o'clock, go get a fix. 2 o'clock, go get a fix. Then to a point, even hygienically, you are no longer yourself.
You're compromised.
You are compromised. So in rehab, what we deal with is, they will deal obviously with, we will help your mental state. So it's a holistic program. They will also assist you in terms of hygiene, your emotional state, the issue of spirituality. Well, in rehab, we don't call names of God. They call it a higher power.
Okay.
So that because we have different beliefs, others will believe in this God, others will believe in that God, but they will call it a higher power for the sake of accommodating each other in that particular program. So the program will deal with the whole human being, the holisticness of a person. Rehabilitation center will deal with it. And it's because we don't want to leave any other part of a human being, to say, we'll just leave this one. No. We deal with everything up until a person will say, now I can tell. I will go, but I can't go alone.
Yeah.
So in the program, part of the program does is that they will have sponsors. So the sponsor is a person who has been a drug addict before, but he's also a recovering drug addict. So it's part of the program. So this particular person must at least be, well, they have differences, but it's someone who is not at the same level of recovery as you. You then have someone who's 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, 25 years ahead, just so that you are inspired always by their life. If they can make it, you can also make it. So it's part of recovery. We deal with a lot of things. What will happen then in our space as a recovering center is that you find that there is a time where they're being taught about finance. My manager would teach them on finance to say, you will get a job at some point.
And then what?
Then what? Because everyone wants to get a job, but there must be a course. What is it that you want? So the issue of vision comes into the space of rehab to say, what is it that you want to do? Then budget comes in, and we try and assist them as much as we can. And we tell them they should not be in any romantic relationship for a year. Please don't ask me then what, but just for a year, they should not be in any romantic relationship. After a year, they can then go into a romantic relationship, because we are avoiding issues of them then being tempted to go back should the relationship not work.
Okay,
that
then
might
your
trigger,
emotions now, okay.
Then they will go back to the drugs. So for that year, we are trying to make sure this person comes back, they work again on themselves. We say be selfish with your program, with your recovery. To say,
if there's one time a
in your
person
life
can be selfish,
it's that
it's
space.
that time.
So for that part of their recovery, we say no relationships, because their relationships are something else.
True that.
They're emotional.
True that.
So we that's where we come in as a center, and also as rehabilitation centers.
Talking about it still, I think we'll come back to relationships. Relationship, relationships are something else. And
Sure.
even now, there are relationships between the user and his or her parents, but we'll get to that.
Yes.
I want to ask you if there is a way where parents perhaps, or the user's family, or someone who cares about them can actually choose the type of rehabilitation center they go to. Because like you said, Lenali halfway house.
Yes.
Can a person choose that they go to halfway house? Or halfway house says, no, go to rehab first, and then you come back to us. But then that rehab, or there are suggestions. How do we go about that?
So if the family is financially okay and they do not mind paying, you then have those institutions where for you to come in, well, it ranges. I don't want to put prices there.
Yeah, sure.
But they range, depending on which rehabilitation center you're going to.
But I'm also talking to programs in the rehab as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is the family can choose which one you are going to, depending on their financial muscles.
Okay.
They can then choose for the service user to say, as family, we are taking you there. Or the client can say, I've heard this about this particular institution, and based on what I've heard, I think I can go there. And obviously, if the family will support that, they will go. You have people who are working, but also abusing substances, who will say, I don't want to go to this particular one, so I'll go to a private one. Then they will pay themselves into a rehabilitation center.
Okay.
So you have that variety. And so in most cases in the community that I'm serving in, you then find people that, they want help, but they can't pay. Then we are saying
they can't afford
to go to probably a private one. So we don't take people by force. We are working on the willingness of the client or of the service user. Because we have those, and I have to say we have those that people are placed in chains. Whether they work or not, that is something else. But I understand they might trigger anger from the person who's chained. I mean, can you imagine being chained? And they're saying they're assisting you, and you are hungry. They're saying you're not going to eat now. That might trigger a certain anger in you. You might be angry at the family, angry at these people who are doing this.
After all,
and now you are chained. It's really not a nice feeling. So we work on the willingness. If a person says, I'm tired, I want assistance, then as a center, we will then provide to say, because we are sponsored or we are, taken care of by social development, we will then take you through the programs that are also paid for by social development. Then if a family will say, we'll take them to a private one, will pay, then we also do so. So the client and the family, depending on the financial muscles, they can choose which one they want to go to. And it becomes a beautiful one. If they want to go to private, they'll go to one. If they want to come to the ones that we offer, we'll go to them. One of the things people will then say is that, but people relapse. I say, well, people relapse, but we will work on that 1% or that 2% that will say he will not relapse. For us, it's a major thing because the institution is not there to babysit or to just push time. We are there with the mindset to say, we are going to help this person. Yeah. And we are sure after these programs are finished with him, he will then go to these other programs where he will continue. Because we never lose a client. We believe now and then the social workers or whoever has been dealing with the service user will then get a chance to work with the service user. So a service user can choose which one they want to go to, depending on muscles financially. The family can choose to say, we'll take this one to this particular program based on their financial muscles. But if they don't want to pay for that, there are still programs like us where someone will say, I want to go, I can't afford, but I can go. Then we will then assist them.
What is the longest? Earlier on, I heard you speaking on 6 weeks.
Yes.
Can it go for longer? And I know sometimes on the option to book it out. Can you book yourself in for a longer time as well? Is that a possibility? Is that being offered in different rehabs?
Different rehabs. You have. We had one. There's one currently where they are there for 2 weeks. In Kalinin, they are there for 2 weeks. You have others where they are there for a month. Around Boxbeck, you have a month. You have others where you are there literally for 6 weeks straight. So depending on the program, there's one I know, Brongor side, where when you are going there, it's a full year.
Sure.
You are there for a year, but while you are there, there is work. You are there for that whole year. It's beneficial for the service user. So, to be honest, people must understand this. We cannot take out 25 years of abusing substances in 6 weeks. It's not practical. Yes. We are just dealing with habits to say, we just gave you a tool to now work on your life.
And what do they say? It takes what, like about 21 days?
21 days.
For you to get into or out of a habit.
Absolutely. So we work on that to say, reload to Samuto. For Kwedie, this is what we'll do for this person. So for the next coming months, we are then working on fighting to stay disciplined within the program. Because now and then we are human beings, you'll make mistakes. There are days where you'll feel like not doing it, but showing up every time to the program says a lot about the character of a person who wants to really change their life. So we are there to say, look, we will assist you. So families, community must understand 25 years of someone doing substances cannot be erased within a month. It's not possible. We don't even, advise that people should just say, but also rehab. But the issue is, this is something that has been happening for 25 years.
Sure.
It's going to take a lot of years. I mean, even Moses, he had to remove 40 years by being in the wilderness from the 40 years he spent in Egypt. So that is something else that people need to understand. And while we are working with this person, the support system from the family has to work quite a lot to say, okay, there are disappointments that we saw, but can we assist him to try and regain his life back? So recovery is holistic. It's not only on him, but also on the family.
On everyone else, is the support structure.
The support structure is quite important. A ripple effect. Those waves. So when someone abuses substances, the whole family is now affected. You will either fund it willingly or you'll fund it indirectly. So whatever way, you'll be funding that lifestyle. So the family for 25 years, they've also been affected by this thing. We can't expect the family to also say, after so many years, it's okay. They are also wounded. Maybe phones were lost.
I was about to say, even the family then now also needs that rehab.
100%.
That rehabilitation. And the user also needs to understand, it goes both ways. Le nna ke ba lemaditse, these
Yes,
people.
so that's where the family integration comes in. So both the social worker will stand there, reconcile these two people to say, there is a life you know before substance. All of you are affected by substance now because maybe in 25 years, this is what happened. But before these 25 years of substance, there is a life that we know. Let's try and, fix that and we move forward. This happened. We can't erase what happened. It's part of it. But it should not necessitate how the family setting should be. So we are working on that space to say both the parent, both the child have been affected, or the husband and the wife have been affected. So let's work on rebuilding this relationship. It's hard work. As we were saying earlier, relationships are work. They are costly. Someone has to decide, I'm going to work this relationship.
And there's one who takes at it perhaps at that time more than the other.
For sure.
But I want to touch again on relapse.
Yes.
Which is a very sad part, but also a reality,
Yeah.
right? It happens, I don't know how often, perhaps you can share with us how often that happens. But what constitutes, what would speak to the reasons? How often do they say, this is the reason why I relapsed? What do you come across?
There is, let me just say, the excuses provided on relapse.
Interesting that you're using excuses.
I'm using it because there's something I will say as I continue. So the excuses are, someone will say, because of boredom, I then found myself abusing. But you have people who are working so hard, who find it easy for them to use drugs so that they can continue working hard. So both of them are right. This one will abuse because they are too busy. This one will abuse because they are too relaxed. There's nothing to do. And that is why I'm saying the excuse that they use.
But surely there should be a solution, or there is actually.
There's always a solution
Sure.
to because drugs are really not a problem. It's people who are abusing this thing who are having a problem because they are the ones who went to it. And so
That line.
so I know it's open for debate.
Yeah.
So people
For
will
another
go,
day.
yes, and take this particular drug and say, I'm bored. Let me have this particular drug so that I can then feel functional. Then you have someone who says, I'm too busy. I need something that will calm me down. So both of them are right. I can't say they are wrong. They are right, but that's the excuse that they're using. So relapse then happens daily. So someone will say, for me, relapse, the trigger to drugs is access to money. So can a person not live without having to get money? It's not possible. So someone will go work, then boom, they have a salary, 40,000 in their account. Then they remember when I'm having this amount of money, I need something. So they will then go back, and that thing triggers that mentality of them abusing substance. So what will then happen is, because with relapse, the sad thing is that someone can relapse and die. Because when they were taking, or when they were abusing substances, the issue has always been one. They were taking 40 bags a day. Now you have spent so many time, or so many months or years without abusing. Now something triggered you to go back and abuse. Now you want that 40 because you are used to 40. Your body can't take it. So they might overdose. They might take the 40 and somewhere we lose a person there. So relapse happen because of a lot of things. Someone just recovered while they're in recovery. Then all of a sudden a parent passes on.
Away,
Then that might trigger those emotions to say, while I thought I'm fixing, now things are here. What's the point? Then they go back to that lifestyle. I know of a guy, his parents passed on, they left money for them. And when they left money for them, he was given his 5 million.
Had he been on drugs before?
He was on drugs before.
And
then he was trying to recover.
Okay.
Then the parents left inheritance for them. He received this 5 million. Now the issue was one. He used to have money, but now the money is too much. So the access of that money made him to go and buy over 10,000 of them. And he wanted to smoke all of them in a day. So things happen, it's life. Now those are the sad things that one has to go through.
Is he still alive?
by God's grace, he's alive, but the man is gone. He's now okay.
He's stabilized now.
Excuse me. He's working on his life. So, relapse can be triggered by a lot of things. Others is relationships. They just came back from rehab. They just got this new relationship, and now you hear that the person or the partner has found someone else in the community. You are like, you see why? Then they will go back into it. So relapse happens every day, depending on conditions that people choose to excuse it on. But those are some of the things that you find that people who relapse say. But the most common one, you find people saying, we are doing nothing. That's why when you find recovering drug addicts, most of them will say, yeah, I went to rehab, I'm recovering, but there's no jobs for us. Like, but that's not the responsibility of the rehabs or of the recovering spaces to give you a job. Their part is to help you get back on your feet. When you're in your feet, go and work. But after you work, then what? So we then provide you a space to say, we are now dealing with this person. In second chance, we are saying, you are no longer on substance. We understand the history. But there is a place you are going to. Where is that place? So we work on a man, because we are having men there. We work on a man to say, well, the world is not like second chance. The world is not like rehab.
They're much rougher.
The world is rough. You know, so
and they know you as a user.
The community will still stigmatize you. When you are coming back, they'll say, put phones aside, put phones. So you have to be prepared for that. While you are prepared for that, some employers, they might not be comfortable with knowing that you used to be a user. So you have to convince them one way or the other that, look, I'm not that man. Used to be, I'm not. How do you then convince them?
This is hard work. As you're talking to this now, as you're talking about this, I can imagine myself trying to convince my employer that I promise you I'm no longer doing drugs. And then comes a situation, something.
Yeah, you are the
I'm
suspect.
the first suspect.
You are the suspect.
So I really, really need to work so hard to take my life back.
Yes.
It's a hard job.
You gave it away, so reality has to kick in. No one owes you.
Ish.
That's the honest truth. I normally say to some of the guys to say, no one is coming to rescue you. If they were coming, you should be rescued by now. So the only person that is going to work on this recovery, it's you. So how you work on it depends on you. So you really have to put in 120% to make sure your recovery is well attended unto.
You said something here that you only have males.
Yes.
At your center.
Yes.
Earlier on we were talking with one of the co-founders of Dlalisa, Dumisang, and we spoke to how men are either in graves, jail, streets, or abusing drugs.
Yes.
What do you think that is? Perhaps maybe now I can ride on the fact that Umuruti, but it's interesting to say it's mostly males. And even in rehabilitation centers, yes, I know that there are users who are female, and I'm not in any way sidelining that, and families who are experiencing, who are feeling it. I'm not in any way trying to put that aside. But why so many males? Perhaps maybe also as you're a male, you can give it to me from your perspective. Earlier on when we were in the makeup room, we were talking about why males can't speak. Is this something that you also touch on at the center, at the recovery center, where you help them deal with their emotions and perhaps make them be able to speak? Why
I hear you. Yeah, more men are in psychiatric wards, more men are in graves, more men are, in rehabs and, on the streets, less, in institutions that, are more developing them. There's a lot of things that I would say make men to be there. I will come to the why men don't speak a lot. But the first question, I believe the way society has put pressure on a boy child, it's what is making a boy child to be in these spaces. A boy child is required to provide, Don't cry. If you cry, you are not a man enough. So what I do is I keep quiet what I should be communicating. Then I will either go to crime, or I will then think a lot to a space where, the things I'm thinking can end up depressing me.
Wait. So there's no space for communication for a boy child. Is that what you're saying? Because you said that I could have communicated it. I could have said I'm angry. I could have said I'm pained.
The platforms are limited.
But immediately when I start crying and showing my vulnerability as a boy child, then
I'm weak.
You're weak.
I'm
so
weak.
The platform for boys to speak
It's very limited.
is limited.
It's very limited. And that is why you find even in churches, we don't have a lot of men. It's more women who are in church than men. Because the space to talk on things that are troubling me, I might appear as a weak husband to other husbands. So I don't want that to happen. So you harbor everything. That is why a man, when he's not performing at work, they would say, he's not performing. But no one wants to really know, what's wrong? Why are you not, in that? Because you'd find there is a lot of things happening. He's carrying probably his family, his immediate family. He's carrying a lot of people, and no one wants to really know that space. And now that I can't provide for them, it's depressing me because I made sure everyone is okay. Now that things are not working okay, then I feel like I'm losing them. I feel like I'm disappointing everyone. And so that also makes a man to feel, okay, let me go. Let me not say anything. They will see me when I do things. Then I associate with wrong companies. They teach you how to scam people, how to go to crime, how to then smoke drugs. Because when you are because drugs are not the same. You have what we call depressant drugs. You have hallucinogens. You then have what we call uppers. Uppers are your crystal meth, cocaine. These are drugs that give you hype, that give you energy.
Just quickly give us an overview of.
So with uppers, these are drugs that give you energy.
Oh, they up
your mood.
Okay.
Then you have what we call hallucinogens. These are drugs that then make you hallucinate.
E.g.?
E.g., crystal meth or /dacha. It will fall into. There are people who take dacha, and they start seeing things. Others hear voices. Then you have what we call drugs that calm you down, like nyaupe calms you down.
Yeah,
and
heroin,
they become very slow. So people who have seen videos of such, it's because of that drug. Keeps you very calm. Even dacha as well, it keeps you very calm. So these kinds of drugs, so people will then choose based on whatever that is happening in their lives. Maybe I feel like I just got a job and I don't want to disappoint. Then I'll take crystal meth or I'll take cocaine. Then I can work for longer hours without sleeping. I will push. Or I will have dacha or nyaupe to say, you know what, I want to relax. I don't want to think too much. While I'm calm down, when I'm relaxed, I don't have to deal with reality. So men will go through all these emotions. A man can't provide. He just lost his job. And if he doesn't have a good partner, then they are being told, you are not a good husband. I heard a guy saying he was told, so those kinds of things, they will kill his ego. Then he will say, you know what, let me show this person who am I. I will not communicate. I will just relax, go. Then you see a new car, you don't know, I just stole this car. You're like, hey, wow, you bought a car. I'm like, go with it. So men have a lot going on with them. Even how we were raised to say, go back, and when you get back, you realize and so you are being raised in that setting, and that is why most men will then resort to lying, because I don't want men to think, get bahari. We had a guy who was coming from a well-off family, from a suburb, background. When he got around some guys, he said, don't tell them I'm from a suburban place. So, but we're like, but why are you like that? It's okay to come from a place where in your living room you have your games, and we said there's nothing wrong. He said, we're like, you're wasting time. Time is not on your side trying to please all these men who are not pleased. So the world has made us not to cry. The world has made us to not trust each other as men, because if I talk to another man and I tell him I can't provide, he will think I'm very weak. He will think I can't provide. He will think I don't think. So you then resort to not talking much, to not doing certain things, to a place where men end up killing themselves. because the space for a boy child to talk. I mean, if we can check, if we are to bring, most of us, if we are to be here with our sons and we are to ask you, what's the favorite soccer team of our sons? Most of us don't know. What is the favorite color of your son? Most of us men, we don't know. I'm a husband, I'm a father.
And your job is to be out there providing.
I must
bring
provide.
back the bread.
That's what we were taught. I mean, our fathers did that. So the only picture we know is that then we are also teaching him. So when my son rises up to my age, he will think a father must just go get.
This is what a father does.
Yeah. So
and also if he never sees you cry.
He will never cry.
He will never cry. If
Chances are he has never seen me cry. So when I cry, I'm like, love, things are not okay. Then you are. So then as a son, he thinks a father must always be a starring. He must never show any emotion. Because when I show emotion, I'm a less of a man.
When you show emotion.
So
let me take it back to the 20 men then who are
Yes,
in your
in
care
the center.
at Second Chance. What are then the things that they are saying to you? What is being communicated? Are there commonalities that they are speaking to as to perhaps why they are on drugs? Of course, yes, you spoke of one who comes from a well-off family. Their stories differ. But I want that common ground.
Well, most they will tell you about peer pressure. How 100% true that is, it's based on information received. That most of them will tell you it was peer pressure from school. It's a few that will tell you, you know what, because most of the people that come into the center, though we have a few of old people or of people of age, is just most of them you find people from 18, 25, 30. Most of them you then realize most are issues of peer pressure. Others is just, being naughty. But the common factor that they tell you is peer pressure, to say, I was in school, I just loved things, and I saw someone there smoking. I decided, let me try. Curiosity is what made most of them get there out of, peer pressure. And you find a guy at school who is, doing well in his grades, and here I'm not doing well, and he's telling you, after I smoked dacha, man, my things are okay. But he's not telling me that he's studying anyway. And now you get there, you wonder why after you had your own set, now nothing works. You're like, but after I take
Then
this
you
thing,
go back to the decision now, I must smoke that thing.
then I need to. So in most cases, it's peer pressure from high school. I mean, I would remember with myself in high school, you'd see these guys were smoking, they are part of the top 10. You start wondering and trying to fit in, to say, let me fit in, let me see what they see, let me hear what they hear. Then you then get yourself a joint, and that becomes a downfall of many. But most of these guys, they were experimenting, thinking they're in control, to a point where they were no longer in control, and it damaged a lot of things. But mostly you find it's an issue of peer pressure.
Of peer pressure.
Mostly it's issues of peer pressure.
Would you say that peer pressure is more rife? I mean, as when you were a young boy, as a husband now, I mean, peer pressure obviously, differ. I get.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Right now, you're a husband, as well, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't pressure.
No.
But when you were younger, can you relate to what they are saying? Did you also feel it in that sense?
No, I would relate. When I was in primary, I was just a young man with energy, though within the teachers' spaces I was not an energetic person. But outside of their sight, I was very energetic. So I always wanted to try things. So you end up, with these people who are abusing this particular drug. I remember at primary level, we were experimenting. When we go to high school, you then find people who are not experimenting, who are using. And you don't want to be seen as one who is a bit weak. Yeah, so they make it look cool. He's with that girl, and the girl is okay with him, having a joint, and you are thinking, maybe, that's the life. So you find, so I think pressure is pressure. It's just maybe after a certain age, you then realize that this thing can pressure me. But at that age, it was pressure. I wouldn't say there was not enough pressure on our side. It was pressure. I was playing soccer. So while playing soccer, you are seeing guys who are smoking. He's very good, he's skilled. And, I'm running there. I'm not as skilled as he is. I'm a defender. My job is to make sure, so that pressure that I had then, and when I hear them talking about it, it just helps me to say, but you can overcome it. You know, I become more like a motivational person to them to say, you can overcome it. But peer pressure is real. I think it will be insensitive not to try and understand the pressure in their space.
Of course.
Because if someone says I smoked because of peer pressure, we have to be sensitive enough to say, we need to deal with the self-esteem of a person.
Okay.
We must help them to be able
That's
to say.
That's where it boils down to.
Yes,
now.
we have no choice.
Yeah.
But to work on that, because if a boy child grows or any addict grows without having to deal with that issue of self-esteem, it will make him do anything that they are saying do. If they will tell him, let's take cocaine, mix it with nyaobe, he will do it because he thinks that these are guys, they love me, they will do it. That is why most people think in a space of addicts there is love. But I say, there's no love. If you love each other, you won't kill each other.
Sure.
But because you are running away, all of you, from a particular emotion. So there's an emotion that they are running away from. So peer pressure, it's a group of people that show me love without having to say we are showing you love. So I think that is love because
that is love,
look at these guys. They are offering me. They are even saying you can't wear these shoes. We'll borrow you our shoes. But the shoes they are borrowing me is to go into this space where we are going to kill ourselves. So that what looks like love is not love. So we really have to work on a boy child. And I believe that's why Second Chance comes in to say, in that common thing, we will then get back into the real emotion of a person to say, there's an emotion they are running away from. Something happened, some were abused. They will never tell you I'm abused. They will say it's peer pressure. But as you take sessions with a person, you then realize this young man was molested. So how do I work on the molest? 5-10 years of his life, he has hidden this thing. Now you are asking me, why am I smoking? I won't say I was molested. They will think I was, as a man, so I will hide that. I'm not going to say it. So the space for men to talk is very limited.
My God.
And you find, I mean, there is a case I know personally from the spaces of being a community member where a young boy, because of his body type, an old man in the community took him and raped him. And by the time we knew that this boy was being raped, it was already happening quite a lot. Now, how do you then tell this boy to now share his story, to say, boy, what's really wrong with you? He won't say it. You'll just see him abusing alcohol. You know, he was trying to run away from the fact that this old man was abusing me. So that, when he's in rehab, he won't say that. He will try to hide it. He's a man.
But that one-on-one session.
That's where you really find the truth, in the one-on-one sessions. So in general, they will say peer pressure, but in one-on-one, that's where you find the commonalities to say most of these people are running away from an emotion.
Let me come to those one-on-one sessions.
Yes.
And the realities of them.
Yeah.
Where parents have really done their best, perhaps, number one. And in some households, you might find that it's single parents that are trying their best to raise their children. But I want the realities of those sessions to speak to how perhaps harsh, painful, emotional they are. But lastly, or you know, perhaps between parents and someone who was a user. Do you have success stories where you can go back to them to say, finally or eventually, you know, something beautiful came out of this session, or after so many sessions, this is what has happened.
Yeah.
You know, Motswadi has reunited Lengwana High. Do you have those stories?
Yes.
How often does it happen?
Yeah, you see, the often part, I will answer like a politician now. So the often part, you know, it's something in our world, I will not say often, but it's something that happens. Because
you know why? It takes time to rebuild the trust. That's why
yes.
I'm asking, how often does it happen? Do you see it a lot?
We see it. I'm avoiding the often and the lot, but we see it.
Okay.
It happens. We have one in Mamelodi where a young lady used to live in Kingsley Hostel, and, you know, successfully. Her story is quite magnificent. She's now working. So she was living there. The parents were not aware where she is. She volunteered to come to our session. Our manager assisted her. There was a point my manager would go even to the hostel itself to go get her. That's how, you know, active and passionate she is. So she would really go there. And up until this young lady, I mean, when she came, She was very tiny. Now, if I were to tell you she used to be an addict, you won't believe it. You know, she was also willing to get the assistance, and she came. She went to rehab. I think she stayed in another rehab where they were accommodating ladies for almost a year. Came back to our aftercare program, and she's still part of us. So she becomes a success story to us because whenever we see her, we can tell this thing works. We have others, obviously, who are not from Mamelodi, who are outside Mamelodi, but they're still okay with their parents. This particular one, I mean, the mother would also come. Her mother is a pastor. So whenever we are having things, the mother would also come, you know, just to also motivate other mothers. She is extremely busy, but I'm still praying for that one. But in terms of the mother and daughter coming together, I've seen in their work. You know, that family, they support each other. You then have others where, you know, there and there you can tell they're still working on it, but the success story is that the guy or the service user is no longer on substance, and the family are showing support. Obviously, they won't come fully, but they will try and show that, you know, we are here for you. But you then find those stories. Not quite a lot, but you find them.
Yeah,
you
there
find
is
them.
hope.
There's still hope.
There is still hope.
There's still
I like
hope.
that. And let me speak to what you now particularly do in the center. You're an
Yes.
awareness coordinator.
Yes.
And I think it's very much important, and I think this is why we're also having this platform
Yes.
for awareness purposes. Preventative measures
Yes.
that really need to come into play. How are you as Second Chance doing that? Maybe not particularly only in Mamelodi, but you will tell us how far and wide do you go.
Yes.
The programs Jalena the Toma from age effing, you know, to get to the young girls and young boys to say, guys, this is not cool. In as much as it's cool, it's actually not, because it will rip your life apart. So you do a lot of awareness in
Yes.
terms of drug abuse. And well, the month of June, we were also just focusing much on that. Were you able to go out as Second Chance to do that?
So what we do is, especially what I do mostly, is you then give an awareness. So an awareness is for the community where, like now, we're talking to everyone. Then you have what we call prevention. With prevention, we go to schools, your daycares. These are people that we are saying we are trying to prevent them from, you know, experimenting or abusing. But we do know in these institutions, you find people who are already experimenting. But the program in schools is what we call prevention. Then with the awareness, it's for the community. So we go everywhere, schools, daycares, just some daycares. Because of Poppy Act, they will then opt to say, hey, we can't, because with my work, you have to do stats. You have to, you know, get stats to say, I spoke to these people, this is the proof. Okay. I spoke to them. But obviously with children, parents must give consent and all those things, whenever the daycare would agree. So with daycare, you have to have...
Interesting that you're actually starting at daycare.
Yeah, so because those ones, they never forget. If you tell them no to cigarette when they get home and they see Papa with cigarette, they're like, at daycare they told me, Papa, no to cigarette. And Papa is now aware. It means my child is now seeing this thing is not right. So you then take it from there in primary, because there's one particular primary school in Mamelodi where we had a case where grade ones were already abusing.
Abusing what?
Abusing Dacha. So when they were abusing Dacha, this is what they do. Papa sends the child to Malume so and so. Then the child is seeing, oh, Papa, I go there 10 rands or 15 rands. Then they are seeing what's happening. When they get home, one day these children decided, let's go and buy. We'll tell them Papa
As
told
if
me.
though Papa rumi.
And the old man didn't have a problem, gave it. They came back to school and they started, and they were hooked. And remember, I have to say to them, don't do Dakalena li ridi pajevana. But yes, sir. And after you are done, they are saying, you know, me, and they even show you to say, oh, me, I do it. How? Then they start telling you this story. Then you realize we really need to do more of this, you know, prevention sessions with them. Even in high school. In high school, you find quite a lot of cases. There are schools, there's a particular school where we have a relationship where they will send some of these, you know, grade 8. Mostly you find grade 8 coming into the program.
Is it also boys?
It's also boys. The majority of them is boys. With girls, it's just a few. Some of the girls, what we have discovered is that they know how to hide their addiction.
Sure.
because they don't want to be stigmatized as addicts. So they will hide it. They would rather say, I drink, than to say, I smoke. So you find those cases. As you are doing your awarenesses, then they will ask you in a corner to say, so you want to tell me this is going to affect me? And we tell them, if you are to take time, abusing substances, as I said, my language, PG. So as I said, so it might hinder them during their covenant month to say it will stop it, meaning it's going to now affect a lot of things
in your
around
system,
in your system. So we have to bring those awarenesses to them to say this thing will affect you to this point. If you are a woman who's pregnant, avoid having alcohol because of fatal, alcohol syndrome. So we have to bring these things, because you find a teenager in high school who is pregnant but also still abusing drugs, or they're drinking alcohol. Excuse me. Where we have to show them to say, look, if you are doing this, these are the consequences. This child will come out in this particular manner. So if we don't do that, we then lose a lot of young people. So, but you find it's quite common in high school to find young girls who will say, me, I'm not for that. But you find a lot of boys, out of 20, you find that all 20 are abusing substances in high school. Then you'll go to tertiary. In tertiary, they are proud that they are taking it. Someone will just tell you, me, I take daka, it calms me down, then I can read, my bro, I can read. And you are wondering, but are they really aware of it? Then it tells you, look, in my family, everyone is doing it. So you are then dealing with quite a lot of things. But in terms of awarenesses, we have to do them. In June, we did one. We did one around D1, just around D1. It was a walk. We just walked around making people aware there is assistance in second chance. We will then have one around September where we'll be also having a march for 10 kilometers. My God, for 10 kilometers we'll be walking. So it will be quite interesting to just make the awareness for people to really know they don't have to pay for that space. Second chance is there to assist them to get their children into rehab. Some families don't know about us. So as we are doing a walk, as we are letting the community aware of us, we are also helping them to be aware of the consequences of their substance into their own homes.
Yeah, sure.
So we do quite a lot. We try to do quite a lot.
How much more should preventative measures be done at home? I mean, you spoke of a case where Papa whatever cigarettes or whatever the case. I believe we can all do something to ensure that, we prevent this from going further. I think even if it can even speak to parents giving kids already down. I think that can also be a preventative measure, because then you're esteeming them to say, I hear what you're saying. But on a spectrum, how much more preventative measures can be done? And even to a person who maybe or I don't have the skills, or I don't have the know-how, but surely there should be some form of communication, just as we're wrapping it up.
I believe there are ways, from family to family, settings are different, but every family must have that time where, as a family, we sit down and we talk. I'm an African. Part of how we were groomed was that there is a time where we eat together. So during the supper time, that's where the parents will be able to ask, how was your day? They will tell you to say, hey, today I was abused. Someone said this to me, and the father will then give advice. Or the mother will say, okay, if this happens, this. But now we hardly have that. And because of the way life is, I do understand life can get busy. But because we no longer have a space as families, we then see things when it's too late to say, I was not aware my child is an abuser of substance. I now know, because you are saying he has to go to rehab. And those things, they may seem small, but those are what keeps the families together. And also this particular person experimenting or abusing substance is going to get assistance. So I would advise, if a child is already there abusing, families must not be ashamed to voice out. this one might take something else. But whenever we are having parental workshops, we would advise, because we advertise it even on our Facebook page, to say there is a parental workshop around issues of substance, to say let families come, let parents come and learn from social workers, because some of the information is based on what these children, some children are crying to say, "Na, Papa doesn't talk to me," and that might seem small, but to him it's a big issue.
Of course,
so
it's already lutsedi.
yes, and that must be addressed. So as they are there and they're hearing, "Oh, this is how I should do it," we are not saying we'll teach you how to become a parent, but we are saying based on the information received and things that we see, we will then, give you a bit of schooling on substance behavior and all these things. Also on how to check out what signs that you should see when your child is when your child is already there. So the social workers, they will begin to give you these things, and also ways on how to work your relationship and also give the necessary support to the service users. So we will say, let parents be awake, research more. I know some of us, our parents are a bit older, they are not technologically wise, but I would say, try to find out, try to,
Even
open yourself. Word of mouth, it also works, This might be a long shot, but, one of the things we would love to see is where parents would sit together in the community discussing these issues, also on how to assist, each other as parents, because that is something that will work.
That would be a beauty insight.
I mean, all of us are affected. No one will say, "Hey, indirectly, you are affected, because my child who's smoking will come and steal from you."
Yeah.
So as a community, how do we then assist each other? And that is why we as Second Chance, we never call people Nyaubes or that. We see them as service users. These are potential service users. One day they will come and use our services so that they can become better citizens.
They are using that service, but they are using yours.
They are using our service. As long as he's on substance, he's a potential service user to the center. When he comes, he's a service user. So they are not drug addict service users. No, they are Second Chance service users. So we see them as potentials that will become great in the society. So our work is to make sure the community is aware of what is happening, and also of the necessary help they can get from us, and also the schools and the daycares to say we will then assist wherever we can. But our work is very simple. We want to give everyone a second chance in the community. It might take us a while to help the whole of Mamelodi, but we will do eventually.
Yeah,
we
one step at a time, one service user at a time, if I can put it like
that.
Ntate Lerodi, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the knowledge in which you have shared with us today. Doing the work that you guys are doing, it's absolutely beautiful. Sometimes it's not seen, sometimes it's not in front of the cameras, but the work is being done.
Thank you.
You can attest to it right now. So continue doing the great work that you guys are doing in our communities, and we wish you all the best. And more help, more sponsorships. I believe that also that parents can be able to step in, different businesses kukasi as well, to come in and help, because like you said, even if but I'm in one way or the other affected by what is happening. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And to everybody back at home, guys, perspective is everything, right? I think for me, my takeaway today for parents is to please put that phone down for a little while. Have time with your little ones or your teenagers or your older ones, whatever the case might be. Like when Solomon was just saying, that culture of us as Black people sitting around doesn't necessarily have to be a table, but just sitting down, sharing supper together or breaking bread together and just asking, how was your day? Just that question. I'm telling you, you are going to get so much from that one simple question to your child. How was your day? It's going to come like a flood. They're automatically going to speak, because you are, and you should be, a safe space. So please put those phones down, guys. Let's take a minute to attend to our children. But it's been a great takeaway for me. And I sure do hope that this episode will help you. If you know of someone that you know really needs to hear this word, or rather this information that we've received today, please do share it. and comment and like and subscribe as well. But until our next episode, it's goodbye from me and God bless. Have a great one. Shap shap.